What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I said I was going to do a little cheeky guide here for your game settings and for your hotkeys. So let's do it. First things first, I'm using an NVIDIA graphics card. It's very, very strong. If you do have one, I recommend, and you're not using a 4K monitor, if you're using a 4K monitor, just do it in 4K. I'm using a 1080p monitor, but what I've got here is, in my little display settings, I've actually got the DSR dynamic super resolution at 4x. So this is pushing me up to 4K, and then I'm scaling it down. Now, I don't exactly know if this does anything for me personally, but what it does do is it produces a really, really good image for the people out there who want to watch these videos in 4K. So I'm not exactly sure how it works, but this is something that someone told me is good, and it seems like it's been producing some good results. Anyways, we've also got the frame rate. We're limiting this to 60 because that's all my monitor can really take. I'm using VSync as well. Doesn't really matter. I don't think the eye can really tell much more than a certain amount of frames per second. So all this stuff is, when people complain about this, I always go, I'm not sure I follow. Anyways, everything else is high, godlike, mythical, full, ray traced high. Everything is on. Everything looks beautiful. I got this obscured unit alpha at 60%. And I'm also got anti-aliasing off with enable bloom. So that's the graphics. I'll just show you it once more in case you guys don't know. You can pause it at any point to check that up. When we go to the game settings here, one quick setting here is to turn your click drag panning speed down to 0. This one here is going to annoy most players. You really don't want this one on. If you do want it, then sure, use it, but it's a very, very annoying thing for me, so I've turned it off. I've got my arrow keys down to 2%. This is what I primarily use when I'm casting. Unfortunately, it doesn't work at the moment, but I'm going to be using it for casting, and my screen edge panning is going to be at 15%. You can go as fast as you want, as slow as you want with this one. It just depends on how quick you want to play. I find I've got good control over my my screen by having it at 15%. Anything more and it starts getting a little bit challenging. Anything less, I feel like I'm going too slow. Obviously, I got two monitors, so lock mouse to the window is important here. My default zoom level is 25%. I've got camera rotation on. Camera acceleration needs to be at 0. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in an RTS game. I don't know why these things are in here. I'm sure some people enjoy it, but this is just not for me. Camera shake. You probably want this off if you're playing competitive, but I like it because I don't play competitive. I'm just here for a good time. Camera edge scrolling. I'm not sure what that does, but of course, when you move your mouse pointer to the edge. Oh, okay. Yeah, obviously this is on. I move with my mouse to screen. If you don't use your mouse to scroll around, you can turn this one off and use the click drag panning thing to play, but I find that would be very, very strange to me. I don't want this one here because I play normally. I don't want this one here because I play normally. This one is really important. Repeating population limit notifications. If it's annoying, turn it off. But I want to be told that I'm not housed. Or I want to be told that I'm housed. If I'm housed, I want to be told again because it's really, really bad. Not sure what this is. You can probably turn this one off. I'm only use mouse and keyboard. I'm not using controllers. I turned the allow keyboard navigation off because I don't, if I'm using my arrow keys to move around in game, I don't want it to be doing anything else. Now here we go in gameplay. I don't have immediately AutoQ villages at the game start on. It doesn't matter. You can turn this on, but I find if I put this on, I will suddenly forget to train villagers for whatever reason. I don't know why. I've got this habit. I spam villager and spam it. Also, there's some gods here where you want to be building a dwarf first or a different villager, not a villager. You want to be building a dwarf first, and this is going to really screw you up in those games. So I have this one off, and then on all the other town centers, I have it on. So I start those straight away. I have allow villager priority off because I do not care for it. One-click garrison is off. Easy military drag select. Now, some people have been saying this is a good thing. All you have to do is turn this on, and it means you're not going to be selecting any villages when you drag select. It can be a very, very important thing. Now, if you did want to then include villages in your drag select, you can hold Alt. Now, I'm used to this. I've not had any problems thus far, and if I do, I will start turning this on, but at the moment, I don't have any problems with it. Default unit stance is aggressive. I don't use control left click as a double click, though this actually seems like a really, really good, now I think about it, this seems like a really, really good feature. I'm going to leave it off. because I don't think I'm going to get used to it. It'll take me like a week to get used to using this. But this is the reason why this is a cool feature is if you're playing in a fight and you want to select all your archers, all you have to do is control and then left click on one of them rather than double click, and it can be a little bit more consistent. But yeah, I'm not having any problems, so I don't use that. All right, villager double click, select villagers performing same action and idle. This is really important. You don't want select all villagers because you will 100%, I guarantee you, have problems where you select all your villagers accidentally and it's going to go away. So I want idle to select all those villagers, and this is going to be great. So yeah, you can really, you can have a lot of good things here. Mouse walk paths. I've seen people playing with this. It looks annoying to me. I've got it off. But if you want to play, like if you want to see exactly what your units are doing, where they're walking, then yeah, turn it on. Gamepad walk paths. I don't use a gamepad. Obviously, I want the enable text on, and I've got my recorder games on. Okay, so this here is important. If you have this on, it's going to really fill up your hard drive space really quickly. So the way to do this, I just recycled my game files recently, but you go into your replays, you go open directory, and then in this place here, as I go onto this screen, you can just select them all and just delete them when you're done with them, or save the ones you like and delete all the other ones you don't like. Very important to do that, okay? Don't let your hard drive space get too high if you're going to be using that. If you don't care, just leave it at, wait. Just leave it at last 10 replays. It's totally fine. I was finding that I was losing some recorder games, so I didn't want to do that. All right, in the user interface, I don't think I've actually touched this. Everything is kind of standard. I have seen some people wanting to use the HUD scale or enabling the alternate HUD, changing that the resource from the top to the bottom right. There's also a mod out there that changes it to the bottom left if you really want that as well, but I don't think it's enabled yet in rank, so you're gonna have to wait a little bit for the devs to get on top of that. I got full tooltips on because I need to know what's happening. Show hit points. I don't care about this build status message when buildings or technologies are completed. I don't need that. I know they're going to be completed, but you could turn it on for yourself if you really want. Show hit points while units take damage. Show hit points while holding Alt. These things are really important. I don't really care about show hit points on mouse rollover, though it could be good. Definitely want the global queue. Definitely want this advanced tech information. This is kind of like your advanced tooltips. Threshold to snap to unit. I don't know what that does. I don't want to invert. Okay, keep on going down. What else have we got? Overlay hotkeys. Display attack range. You can just use Alt to see this stuff. So whenever you want this, I just use Alt. When I want to see what my units are doing, I hold Alt. I don't want to see anything else. It's just too much information on the screen for my brain. Okay. So here we've got use combined ability menu, use combined production menu. These things aren't terrible. If you want to use the production building menu, I probably wouldn't recommend using, if you're not using hotkeys, this is kind of a little bit hard to use. Now there are ways to use it. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's a little bit confusing. But basically, if you want to have like 2 buildings in one control group, this is probably a good thing to do. So say you want a military academy and a stable in one control group, this is going to be very good. But I don't particularly, I'm not going to really be using this very often. I had it off, I have it on, it doesn't matter. I'm not sharing control groups at all. You can also use like tab as default to cycle through things without this on. So if you're someone who likes to have all your buildings in one control group, build, tab, build, tab, build, tab, then sure, you turn this off, but otherwise, yeah, it's up to personal preference, I guess. I don't know what the rest of this stuff is. Sound-wise, I mean, it's pretty standard. I've turned my sound volume down because it's always too loud for me. I've got the narrator off. Speech is a little bit up for my campaign because I like the voice acting and everything else. I got a little bit of music on. Okay, so now we get to the meat and potatoes. This is the hotkeys. I have a theory here that you could really make some insanely efficient hotkeys by changing the way control groups and limiting the space of your keyboard from 1 to 6 and Q to T, and having your 7, 8, 9 hotkeys as T, G, B, and going from there. But I don't think the technology is there yet for this, and I don't have the patience to relearn my hotkeys. It's probably going to take, it probably only takes about a week to relearn hotkeys if you're already really good at it. But anyways, for those of you who are beginners and you want to get something more out of this, I would recommend learning one hotkey at a time and just playing some games until you feel comfortable using that hotkey every game without thinking about it, using one control group every game and adding those as you get better and better. So just take everything here with a grain of salt, add one thing at a time, take it easy if you want to be getting better. All right, I've changed my attack move to A. It's really important when you change your attack move to A to also change, where is the show economic commands to something else. I've changed this to H. So you can't have both of these on, otherwise you're going to have some troubles playing with Norse, and you'll have to hit A twice. So make sure you do that. I've also changed some of these formations over here, aggressive stance back to the default from Legacy, because I'm used to Legacy, Alt-A, Alt-D, Alt-S. Villager normal stance here, Villager standard ground. This is basically aggressive stance, so to speak, in Legacy, and this is stand ground stance. I just put those on Alt-S. You can put them on whatever you want, but this is what I've been using. I think the default is Shift-S, so whatever. H, all these things here are fairly standard. I haven't really checked these out. I use G for ejecting things. This is just my own personal preference, whatever you guys like. This Seek Shelter command is pretty useful. I do use this one, and I do use Alt-C. So, yeah, you can change that to something a little bit more useful here, a little bit more not clunking everything up. But yeah, Alt-C works well for me there. And I use T on Patrol, because Patrol is a pretty useful command as well. Cancel building. Yep, all this stuff is fine. General gameplay. Hotkeys. Yep, those are all fine. Shift backspace onto cancel all queued items. I do use this. Shift backspace. I don't want to... I probably could change... What I actually want is a cancel one unit in the queue, which is my backspace hotkey. But unfortunately, that's not here. So it is what it is. And I might be able to add my own in with some little hotkey trickery, but... Or some editing in the thing, but I'm not going to go through and mess with that. All right, so... Find last notification. I normally actually use this with mouse 3, but I haven't found that I actually needed this anymore. Anyways, we've got cycle through. Now, I don't actually use this one. I use Control Tab when I'm cycling through stuff, because I use Tab on my town center because I'm special like that. All right, this doesn't really matter here. This is just for the menu. You can change this to be a little bit more legacy-like, but I don't think it matters. This is the combined ability training thing. I haven't touched this. This is all just QWERTY. It's really hard for me to use it. I haven't tried much to use it, because I found it difficult. So I'm not there. All right, so these ones are important. Find and select unit hotkeys. I use spacebar for idle villager because this is the most important hotkey. I use shift space here to select all my idle villagers. Most important. Over here, I've got my fishing ships on space. I've got my idle caravans on space. Very rarely will I ever need to select all my idle fishing ships. So I just don't. It's fine. And idle caravans. Select all idle caravans here. I need to have a hotkey for this. This is actually kind of important. I want shift space, but maybe alt space is the go. We'll go with alt space, because that's easy enough. If my caravans go idle for whatever reason, I want to set them back to work straight away. But I also can just hit shift. What I normally do is hit shift left click military banner, and then I select my caravans. Nonetheless, we've got a hotkey now. I use for my land military, idle military, I use tilde. This is next to the 1 key. And shift tilde as well. Alt tilde is all land military. This is actually a really nice hotkey as well if you want to save yourself a control group. Though it does select some units you don't really want all the time, so you've got to be careful with it. Finding heroes, selecting all heroes. I use this one. So I've started throwing my heroes onto a hotkey here. If I want in a fight, I hit U, and then I have all my heroes selected very, very easily. I'm still trying to get used to it. This is probably going to be the hardest hotkey for me to use, because normally when I'm searching for units, I'm searching up on the control group side of things, and I just am not ready to just get rid of a control group and have it using this, just because I don't trust this system in the slightest. So I'd rather have the control. So I'm just putting this on you, and I'm trying to get used to in fights. I've also got down here select all ranged units, because this is another really, really important hotkey for fights, so I don't have to double click on my archers to select things. I can just hit Y and then right click. I'm still not used to it, but I'm getting there, all right? These other hotkeys aren't that important in my opinion, but you can put whatever you want in those. Now is the most important thing. This is something you really should change. You really should change this. And I've just noticed one that I haven't changed just yet. So what we want is, we want find all of a building to be Control T, and you want find the actual building to be Control Shift T. You want this to be the opposite, because more often than not, you are just wanting to select all of your buildings and train units from them. Now, I control group my buildings, but on the odd case that I haven't controlled all my control grouped all my buildings, I have to go around and I have to like select them all, and then I have to put them into a hotkey. It takes really, really time consuming. But now I can just hit Control T, and then I can put all my temples into a control group if I want, or I can just use Control T for the rest of the game to do this. And if I'm not happy with what's going on, and I want to find a specific temple, which will happen very, very rarely, I will hit Control Shift T. So that's the thing. I've got this on all of my production buildings, all my armories. Everything here is really important. You could probably also put it onto your gold sites, but they don't have a hotkey for this. Because, like, say I'm playing as Egyptian and I want to get myself husbandry, plow, sacred cats all at once, and I got 3 granaries. I have to go Control G, and then train, Control G, and then train, Control G. But if I had a select all granary, I wouldn't have to do that because they'd all just smartly go into the right position. Nonetheless, that's not available. But yes, we've got all of this swapped. So that's a big important one. For my military buildings here, I use legacy hotkeys for building because I learnt this and I am too stubborn to change my ways. It's inefficient. I don't recommend it. I recommend learning the QWERTY hotkeys if you can. And if you are a legacy player, then you know already to just change these. So I don't think this is going to be much help. That's the same for all of these ones here. My shared hotkeys here, I haven't changed any of this. All of this just works. Yeah, I haven't changed any of this. I haven't changed any of this. I haven't changed. Okay, so temple hotkeys, Greek, Egyptian, Norse, Atlantean. None of this has changed. All of this is just QWERTY through and through. The one thing I did have to go in and change is anything that had G in it. So I did have to go through into here and just search and make sure that nothing has G in it. Otherwise, I'm going to be ejecting my units with G, and I'm going to accidentally train a technology. So I had to go through and make sure that, for example, I can't remember. There's a tech in here that I think I might have just unbound one of them. That's going to be like Jotun's here. This one here, I've just unbound. I can click on a technology, one technology. It's not going to be that big of a deal. It's not going to set me back that much time. Celerity here. So I've just made sure that I've made sure that these don't have G. And I think that's it for the actual hotkey stuff. Everything else is literally just standard until we get down to camera navigation. Unbind this if you don't use right click to move your stuff. Move camera with mouse. Unbind this. Very important. And I also have reset camera zoom as Alt-C. Now it does clash with my Alt-C button, but my camera is already going to be at default camera zoom level. So I'm not that upset about me accidentally changing my camera zoom level in game when I'm like retreating my villagers away for whatever reason, because the camera's already going to be there. So I just assume this is going to be fine. So I'm just sharing that hotkey or whatever. Spectator mode here for those of you who want to be spectatoring. I don't think I've changed anything. I changed this one, map visibility to M. But yeah, control 1 and 2, those are your big ones. Main menu hotkeys are all the same. And I believe that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Anyways, that's my hotkey guide. I guess one other thing to be talking about beforehand is... Okay. One other thing to be talking about beforehand is in-game, there are some things you need to remember how to do. So you've got an ability to train villagers, and I use AutoQ here to set up AutoQ, or you can right-click on it. if... Actually, let's do this. If I wanted to pre-queue something, so you can see my villagers here are going out, and I wanted to pre-queue it, I can right-click on my age up and take a look. You'll see the villagers weren't there. If I wanted to pre-queue masons, I can right-click on it there. I can pre-queue these things up. If I get myself up a mining camp, if I get myself up an armory here, I can pre-queue. I can pre-queue all these upgrades. You see how these ones are ready here to be pre-queued? Once I get to the next age, they're going to start getting researched. Over here, I can pre-queue all of these upgrades up with right-click. So this is a really, really important thing to be having in the back of your mind to be able to use. Anyways, that's going to be it. That's my villagers keep spamming out here. And if you guys enjoyed this one, if you got any questions about things I missed with these hotkeys, do let me know. I'll probably missed something. I don't know. But if I have, let me know, and I'll answer in the comment section below. My name's Boit, and I'll see you guys in the next one.